All right, so we have James Hetfield from Metallica in the UAE. Welcome to the UAE.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your first time over here?
Yes, it is. First time, and it's always great to find a new place to play, you know, and be invited to play somewhere new.
So since your childhood, obviously you were always into music, you know, the piano, then you picked up the guitar. What drew you to heavy metal, though?
It's just one of those things. I was drawn to the heavier riffs of, you know, my brother's record collection, you know, records.
Yeah.
You're a DJ.
I know,
you
I know.
Records, man.
My shoulders still hurt from carrying them back in the days.
You know, there was, he had from the Beatles, Jethro Tull, to Black Sabbath, and I chose Black Sabbath. That was just, whether it was the cover or the riffs, I mean, all of it just, I was just drawn to it, and it made me feel excited and alive.
And how you met Lars was you replied to an advertisement that he put out in a paper. Did you ever think it was actually going to go this far when you replied to him?
Absolutely, that was our dream, you know. But as a kid, there's like this vision, and I love when children have these, you know, visions that I'm gonna do this, and there's just no question about it. You know, I'm gonna, you know, become a soccer star. That's what my son's gonna be.
Okay.
There's no question about it. It's either that or he's gonna play football. You know, so having a dream is an amazing, you know, goal to go for. As you get older, you kind of think, all of the self-pressure, the other people kind of putting you down, that kind of gets to you. But, you know, I knew I was going to be in a band playing music. I had these posters up on my wall as a kid, and I was just like, dude, I want to be some dude on a poster in some kid's wall. That's what I wanted to be.
And you're on a lot of walls, obviously, these days. You know, going back to Lars, what is your relationship like with it? Being together with a band member for so long, are you guys like family? Do you still fight? Do you still, you know, treat each other any differently after all these years?
Well, it's, you know, we've been together longer than, well, 2 of his marriages. Quite a few, you know, a couple other band members. Yeah, him and I have been together, you know, since 80, really, 80. And just like any relationship, you got to work at it.
Yeah.
You got to, you know, there's times when we're just total brothers, and then there's times when we're, you know, mortal enemies, and, you know, it fluctuates back and forth. But I think we're more of the understanding that we're important to each other, and we need to care for each other, because as a team, we're pretty good.
Let's talk about the genre of music, heavy metal. Is it still alive and kicking today? Obviously, you get to see it around the world as a band, seeing the people responding to you. I mean, over these years, the 30 years that you've been in the industry, traveling around the world, have you seen much of a change? Has it gone up, down, or is it pretty stable?
It's done all that. You know, it's a kind of a music that, you know, it'll get popular, then go back under for a while, and then that's kind of when the real fans start to either form their own bands or, you know, really dig in to find some stuff that they really, that moves them. I mean, it's just, it's music that moves you. So whether it's popular or not doesn't matter. Okay. It's, you know, the fact that we're playing it after 30 years is a testament that it's an expression for us, and it works. But yeah, popularity goes up and down, but all across the world, you can always find it. And it's pretty amazing to, you know, be able to be asked to come play here and in Finland and in India and in South America, you know, all over the place. There are fans that want to connect with your music.
You're currently working on a project with Lou Reed. It's a joint album. Can you tell us a little bit about this project?
Yeah, well, it's just one of those. It's not the next Metallica record. It's kind of an experiment. It's a collaboration. We got to know Lou at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he wanted to do an album with us, and we took that as a challenge. And you know, we don't sit around and figure out what we can do next. There's things that just appear for us, and we either, you know, embrace them or run away from them, and this is one of those things we embraced, and it's quite amazing. I mean, I've learned that he's an amazing lyricist. I didn't know much about him, being from the West Coast of America. You know, he's very New York, very East Coast. But I've learned a lot about him and really respect him. And it was some lyrics that he had written for a play, and we got to write music behind it, which is something I've always enjoyed. You know, soundtrack kind of feels, and writing music to a lyric that's already there.
And you know, obviously, a lot of collaborations go around these days. You know, especially genres crossing each other as well. Have you been approached, or are you looking to maybe do something like that? You know, maybe it's the likes of a hip hop project, or even maybe a dance project, or anything like that, or is that something that, as a brand, Metallica wouldn't do?
Well, yeah, I understand your question. We love playing what we play. You know, we haven't collaborated with a lot of people, and when we did it with Lou, it was one of those. Are we sure we want to, you know, first hook up with somebody else? But it was really like his songs that we were adding to, so it wasn't like I don't know. There's a fear around that, but also there's as an artist, great doors open when you jam with other people. You learn how they record, how they write, how they embrace life, what their philosophies are. So that was a good part of it, but we don't see it as a career move, you know.
Okay.
Hey, you know,
We need to get into the studio with like.
hey, Lady Gaga's popular. Let's do that. You know, we'll leave that to the other bands. You know, the U2s, the Stones, the whoever that like doing stuff like that. We're not so much like that. We get inspired by what we like playing.
We hear that when you prepare for your shows and you travel around the world, you take soil or like dirt from your home country. Is this rumor again, or I mean, you know, it's the internet today. You know,
That's an awesome idea. I think what happened. Let's see, back. It was, I think, sometime in the Black Album tour, '90s. Yeah, there was I had to have some quirk. Everyone else had one. So what can I do? And it had to do with walking to the stage in my boots when they got all dusty, and it was like, oh, it's good luck. It's local dirt,
Local dirt, yeah.
you know. So it has to be local dirt is what the whole thing is. It was not from home, but you know, we'd have our wardrobe girl going out digging under 2 feet of snow to find dirt just so I could put my feet in it.
Well, you're not going to have that problem here in the UAE. Obviously, we're surrounded by desert, so there's plenty of sand. If you want to take some with you as well, we can arrange that.
All right.
You know, we can.
I'm sure we'll inhale some, right?
Any future plans? You know, I heard something about movies, a 3D movie maybe.
Yeah, that's kind of floating around. We've been working on something that's we don't know what it is yet. It started off as a best of kind of show with all of the past stage effects into one big show, and then filming it, and then it became, hey, let's do 3D, and then, hey, why don't we go ahead and make, you know, like a movie with, and then there's really no limits on this movie except certain financial limits, but we have lots of ideas on what we want to do.
Excellent. Well, listen, James, thank you very much for taking the time out to have a chat. I've got to also personally tell you that I'm sure a lot of people might have told you this, the first song I ever learned to play on a guitar was Nothing Else Matters.
Right.
It was just, you know, the first song, I think a lot of people always tell me the same thing as well. You know, when you first pick up a guitar, someone teaches like, hey, teach me one thing. You don't need to use your second hand.
Exactly.
That's perfect. Thank you very much.
Right
Hope you
on.
enjoy the
Great
show.
to hear. Appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Yeah.